Hi guys, for this week 4 discussion for COMM3233, talking about media violence. And after watching the video and after listening to our instructor's video and going over the lecture notes, so the first question being, do you think there's an appropriate time that media violence seems ethical? Sometimes I feel like we do need to be scared straight a little bit. Honestly, there are dangers that we need to be wary of in our world, and I don't think that everything that happens on like the TV shows, like our professor mentioned, is going to happen to us in real life. But I think it's something to think about, just being careful about certain situations and not placing ourselves in certain scenarios and scams that we could fall into. The next question being, are we desensitized to violence? I think sometimes we are, especially with the amount of crime drama that goes on. I know I indulge in it. I love Criminal Minds and CSI and things like that. So I think sometimes we are desensitized, but we also have a good mindset of what's reality and what's fiction for TV. And so just kind of trying to always make sure that I never attach reality and what's going on in my TV shows together, because that would make for an awful and very fearful world to live in. And going into the next question, is there a time where news outlets need to be more sensitive to the violent content they put on TV? Yes, I do think so. We don't want to be hit with, oh, that this crime is happening and this crime is happening, this crime is happening all at once every day. I do feel like there's times where we need to be aware of what happens, but at the same time, I don't think that it needs to be constantly 24/7, every little thing that happens in our community to kind of scare us and live in that very fearful world. Going into the next question, is media violence an issue today? Honestly, I feel like it depends on the person, and I don't think we can ever put a group of people in the same category for anything such as that, because it all affects us differently. Like I said earlier, I always make sure to separate the reality of my world from the fiction of TV. And so I just try to do that regularly, because I don't want to live in a very fearful world, as I mentioned, and I don't want to live in a place where I think that everything's just good all the time either, because we live in reality. It's not going to be good all the time. Some of the moral dilemmas that were addressed in the video being that violence on TV begets violence in real life. Again, I think it depends on the person. Honestly, if you have someone who's very full of anger who watches those shows, yes, and they get inspired by it, that's not a good thing to have. But I think overall, again, we can't group a bunch of people together like that. So some of the main ideas of the video are that men are doing a lot of the violent acts that we see on TV, yes, but now in our media today, it's a lot of the women too. Like, there was a TV show, Revenge, that was just based on the woman getting revenge on her whole family for her being done wrong. And so I think there's a balance nowadays between men and women doing violent acts in media. And then, so what is the ethical perspective? Honestly, I think it's cultural and moral realism. And so I think that we, as a culture, kind of deem what's okay and what's not okay, and some of the principles and the ethical dilemmas have switched over the years, just because we see things on TV and technology is constantly growing and changing. And so I think that's one big thing that we kind of need to put into perspective, of definitely separating reality from TV and what we see online. So thank you guys for listening.